Hey, good morning, everyone, and welcome to this great Computer World event. Today, I'm going to be covering backing up your data in Microsoft 365 and minding the gap. As way of an introduction, first of all, my name's Sam Woodcock. I've been with Ireland over 9 years. I'm working in a cloud strategy role today, but prior to this, I worked directly with customers to help shape solutions for their organizations. A little bit of housekeeping before we get started. If you can get to the end of the webinar, I know your time is valuable. You'll be entered into a prize draw to win a cool Lego Technic Porsche 911, which I personally would like as well from my perspective. I love Lego. But to set the scene, why we're here today is to talk about Microsoft 365. And a lot of organizations are turning to Microsoft 365 to streamline employee productivity, enable communication from anywhere, and to collaborate from any place they are as well. So when we look at Microsoft statistics themselves, when they publish this product has had wide adoption in the industry. Over 180 million people leverage these tools on a daily basis to perform collaboration and communication. And in fact, 1 in 5 corporate employees are actually leveraging this solution. So we can see how popular this is, but also how critical this is to organizations to help them achieve their objectives. And the reality is that business critical applications and data are no longer just in one place. If we look at the landscape and how things have evolved over time, maybe like yourselves, we've started off in this world where we host on premises. We're using technologies like VMware, and we're hosting mission critical applications and systems and delivering those to our employees and to our customers as well on a frequent basis. And this is still the reality for a lot of organizations, but more and more we're moving to the cloud. We're leveraging cloud-based services such as the ones that Ireland offer from a production perspective, but you may also be leveraging a range of clouds, the multi-cloud angle, to host your mission critical services and applications. So we have data there as well. And as we've mentioned, Microsoft 365, with its wide adoption across the world, folks are leveraging SaaS services where it makes sense to deliver, again, mission critical services to employees, to customers, things like email, file hosting, CRM systems, etc. Microsoft 365 is one of the key services there. But if you look into your organization, you're likely to be using other SaaS services today. And if we look at this landscape, critical business data is sat across all of these locations. And so it becomes a really important point to understand what is the level of protection that this data has in regards to where it's sitting today. So when we talk about data protection in general, we feel it's important to have a multi-layered data protection strategy. Again, regardless of where the data sits, whether it's cloud, whether it's on premises, whether it's in a SaaS service, you need technology, you need expertise and process to have a strategy around preventing things that may cause data loss, protecting against those elements, and ultimately having a recovery strategy should the worst happen, right? Some people say it's a question of not if, but when something happens. And so it's important to have solutions in place that can help you recover your organization should one of these incidents happen. So we're talking about Microsoft 365 today, and I think it's important to look at exactly what does Microsoft back up within their environment. And so we look at a document that is freely accessible online. If you go to Microsoft 365 Trust Center, you'll see the same visual, and it lays out Microsoft's responsibilities and your responsibilities as an organization consuming their services. So Microsoft clearly state that the primary responsibility of their organization is the global infrastructure, to make sure that that's always available, always on for your organization. They're taking control of the supporting technology, the replication between different geographical regions within their cloud environments. They're providing some elements of recycle bin capabilities for short-term data loss recovery, and we'll go into that in a little bit more detail later on. And they're also responsible for infrastructure level security, things like physical and logical security, application level security, and user control, as well as their role as a data processor from a regulatory perspective. But they clearly state in this overview document that your responsibility is your data that you choose to house in that service, and that you reside in Microsoft 365. And you should have in place a solution that enables you to back up that data to a separate location that gives you the retention policies that you're looking at from an organizational perspective. So really, that's your responsibility as an organization. Alongside that, security from a data level in terms of preventing things such as accidental deletion, malicious insiders, employee retaliation, as well as external threats like ransomware, malware, and hackers. And again, your role as a data owner, you're responsible for your data, and again, backing it up is really critical. So we understand what Microsoft say in terms of responsibilities. What's also important to understand is why you should back up in the first place. And I think this is true of both 365, but any environment that you have critical business data. Things like accidental deletion happen more frequently than people realize. I think when we did a survey recently, over 37% of folks had suffered a data loss incident due to accidental deletion. Folks want to cover the requirements from a retention policy perspective, and often there are gaps there with the length that the business needs from a retention policy perspective and what we're delivering to the organization. And that all ties hand in hand with legal and compliance requirements that your organization most likely faces to do business in your specific sector. And I think you can't get away from the fact that there are a range of both internal security threats from potentially malicious employees that we've seen, but more importantly, external security threats that we see constantly in the news every single day, every single week, where ransomware is impacting an organization or a hacker has got within the organization is willing to do it harm. So these are general reasons for backup, and all of these still apply when you're in the Microsoft 365 ecosystem. So again, how often do these issues really happen? I mentioned 37% when we did this survey with Veeam had actually suffered user error or accidental deletion that had meant that the organization had lost data. But again, you'll see a strong showing from security threats at 18%, retention policy gaps, which basically means I thought something was protected, but it wasn't, is at 19. So there's a range of reasons, again, for why you need a backup strategy in place. So if we think about all of the threats, all of the incidents that may happen, the policies and what Microsoft state are the customer's responsibility, where does that leave you as an organization? What should you do? Well, the reason I'm speaking to you today from the island perspective is we saw this gap, this mind the gap concept. We saw that organizations needed backup and recovery for their Microsoft 365 environment. And so that's why when we looked to this market, we decided to release a solution together with Computer World that enabled us to provide infinite protection for your environment and fast recovery for Microsoft 365. And the idea behind this is to protect everything within your Microsoft 365 cloud, whether that's Exchange, OneDrive, SharePoint, or Teams data. And so that's what we set out to do. And the reason that we did this, as we've talked about, is if you look at the standard Microsoft retention within 365, it is very limited. If you look at something like an employee leaving the organization, potentially your company, within 30 days or 1 month, Microsoft 365 by default has that data deleted after that period of time. If we look at things like deleting OneDrive files, which happens typically on a daily basis, right, within an organization, again, after 30 days, that does go into an archive, but after 3 months, again, that data is permanently deleted. So there's areas across their services where after a very short period of time, unless you've taken a backup, the data is gone in these scenarios, right? And things like junk emails, we already understand that things are falsely flagged as junk and they're critical correspondence and files. What if one of those things is then deleted after 30 days? What happens to your organization? And when we looked at this as well, we often find through research that the average time for somebody to discover user error or accidental deletion or something more malicious is over 140 days. And so that's why with our solution, which I'm going to go into a little bit more detail on, we actually do at least a daily backup, and if not more frequent, and we store the data indefinitely. So you have multiple points in time that you can go back to and recover your data back into Microsoft 365. So the idea here is to provide complete protection and indefinite retention of that data to give you the choice of what you restore back into your environment. So a little bit about Island for the folks who may not have heard of us before. We've actually been operating in the IT services space for over 25 years. And for the last 13 years, focused on cloud and disaster recovery services or data protection. We're operating in 10 global cloud regions, 2 here in the UK in London and Manchester, presence in the EU with Amsterdam, and you can see in North America and Asia, we have a variety of different data center locations for you to leverage, and all of these are available for this service. The things that differentiate us, first of all, are that we want to make sure that the service is always on to back up and recover data from, and we provide a supported experience from the design in our pre-sales aspect through to implementation and ongoing support with the solution. And we adhere to over 20 compliance standards. The other thing that I'd like to focus on is our leadership in data protection. You can see as I scroll through this animated chart here from Gartner, Island is in that top right-hand quadrant as a leader in disaster recovery as a service. And so we have a lot of expertise delivering data protection solutions and ultimately providing our customers with solutions to their challenges. We've also been partnering with organizations like Veeam, who obviously have a strong showing from a data protection perspective and provide great outcomes to their customers. We're proud to be a 4-time winner of their Impact Partner of the Year and of their Innovation Award as well. And really what this points to, and the Gartner information, is our ability to take a problem or a business objective and actually use technology to provide an outcome to our customers. And so hopefully this demonstrates the history and our focus, our laser focus on data protection for organizations. And it really is a multi-layered approach. We talked earlier about the need to have a multi-layered approach to data protection, to protect data regardless of where it sits, whether that's on premises, in 365, whether it's recovering your environment into the cloud, or protecting a range of systems with different technologies using our object store platform. These 4 different services enable us to provide all of the different ways to back up your services, again, regardless of where your data sits. And what we're also known for is powering innovation. We actually use our core cloud platform to deliver production hosting to customers on a daily basis, 24/7, 365, so that they can offload what they may have running on premises and run it in the cloud and let us take care of the infrastructure. And behind all of this, we believe in providing a security experience, having a seamless way to connect to our cloud, supporting customers along the way, and making sure that things are reliable at the same time. So that's a little bit about Island and some of our services, but we're focusing right now on 365 and what we can do there in terms of protection. So when we set out to design the solution, we not only wanted it to be reliable and provide the outcomes that you're looking for, but also to be very simple to consume from a pricing perspective as well. So as you do with Microsoft 365, you pay Microsoft for the number of users that access that service, and it's all in the cloud. With our service, it's again all in the cloud, and you simply pay per user based on which users you wish to protect. And with that, we provide that unlimited retention policy for your environment. Again, as I mentioned, on a daily basis, we'll at least run 1 daily backup of all of the objects that you choose to back up to our environment. And again, you can customize this. So if you wish to do more frequent retention or backups, you can do so as well. Again, unlimited retention, I've mentioned that countless times here so far, but this gives you that choice of when you're going to restore your data back to, and will solve the retention gap issue that we've seen with a lot of organizations. We don't charge for any storage. All of that's taken care of from our perspective. So alongside that unlimited retention policy, we're providing unlimited storage to achieve that, and we're taking care of that back-end element and making sure that that's available for your backups. And with this, more importantly, I think the most important thing about any backup solution is the ability to recover data. And so we provide a plethora of different recovery options that enable you to get your data back, either into 365 directly or locally to perform some discovery work as well. And we're going to go into that in a little bit more detail. So to give you a picture of how it works, a simple architecture diagram, you'll see Microsoft 365 on the left-hand side of the slide, Island on the right. Again, it's all fully cloud-based. There's no components that you need to run locally, nothing to run independently and manage in a cloud. Island is running the service, just providing you with the tools and giving you the capability to provide a daily backup or more frequently as desired. And then through our Cloud Console interface, giving you the option to recover data back to 365 very easily. And again, fully cloud-based, we're encrypting all of the storage and providing you with flexible options to restore the data back. And this makes it a very seamless experience to adopt and utilize as you need it. So if we think back as well, when we set out to design any solution, we want to make sure that it's secure and compliant. So as your data moves between Microsoft 365 and Island, it's in-flight encryption. And as it sits within our storage platform and in our data center locations, we're doing at-rest encryption as well. So we take care of those elements from a security and compliance perspective. We have over 20 compliance certifications, and you're welcome to delve deeper into that with our compliance team. We support it, as I've mentioned, not only through our experts from a design perspective, we'll help you deploy this, get the backup set up, and then through our cloud interface, utilize it on a daily basis. If you have any queries, you can come to our team. Again, it's always on, always available. We have an SLA to back that up, and it's available globally. So as you need to keep data within a specific geographical region for data sovereignty purposes, you can choose the location that makes sense. Maybe that's London or Manchester in this case, but this is all available to choose from. Now, I mentioned the importance of flexible recovery options. That really is really critical. What we want to provide to you is the capability to very seamlessly get the data back quickly and provide you the options to do what you wish to do, right? So whether it's restoring the object directly back to where it came from, restoring a new version and leaving the old data in place, all of those options are there to choose from. You can also do things which are really nice, such as downloading the user mailbox as a PST file directly back to your local environment. One of the common things that we hear is maybe an employee leaves the organization, right? After 30 days, if you didn't have the solution, that data would be gone. With the Island solution, we have a copy of that deleted user. And imagine an HR complaint comes in from that employee who's left the organization. Maybe there's a legal dispute, and you need that data to prove something within that process. You can download a copy of that PST, you can share it with your HR team and anybody involved in that specific incident, and find the relevant data that helps your organization pass through that situation. So there's a lot of different ways that you can leverage data, and it gives you that choice. And how you do that is through the Island Secure Cloud Console. This is our singular unified interface that we use for all of our services, whether it's 365, disaster recovery as a service, protecting on-premise systems with Veeam Cloud Connect, for example, or using our object store platform. All of those are consumed from a single place so that we make management on a global basis very simple, and you have complete control over what you choose to do. So I'm going to delve into some of those capabilities towards the end here and show you what's possible. First of all, once the service is set up, you can connect to Microsoft 365 through the console, so you don't have to provide any credentials to Island engineers for your valuable Microsoft 365 data. And once you're connected through that experience, you can set up backup jobs through our console interface. Once they're defined through the interface, you can keep track of any backup jobs that happen, see the status, whether it's running, successful, or any issues that you may need to resolve within Microsoft 365, and things like the amount of items transferred on a daily basis. So this is really your audit log that you can show if the business asks, is my Microsoft 365 environment protected? You can download a report through our console and show that to the rest of the team. And this is always available at all time through the interface. As I mentioned, we'll at least do a daily backup, but again, you can customize this so that you could perform a backup every hour, for example, if you wish to. And when you then go to restore data, you can pick the service that you need to restore data from, and you can pick the point in time that you wish to restore back to. So again, if it's user error or accidental deletion or something more malicious, you can rewind time and go to the relevant point that's going to get your organization back up and running. You can see in my example a range of different restore points to get your data back. And then once you've mounted that backup data through our cloud console, you have a very powerful interface built for each service. So there's a unique Explorer view for Exchange, OneDrive, SharePoint, and Teams that gives you a hierarchical view of that specific object. You can then delve deeper and deeper, maybe into the inbox and specific emails. And you have the granular capability to restore individual objects like an email. If that's the specific email, as we can see in the screenshot that you wish to restore, you can do that into 365 or locally. But if you want to restore an entire user mailbox or a folder, you can again have that capability through the console to do that very seamlessly. And again, as I mentioned, these Explorers are available for Teams, OneDrive, SharePoint, so you have the relevant context and you can get that data back with a click. We mentioned that predictable cloud cost is often one of the first things that people look for as they're evaluating a cloud provider. Again, we simply do it on a per user basis. You can see all costs as they happen. You get a breakdown of what's licensed from our perspective, and you can see exactly what makes up any billing that we're providing to you as an organization at all times through the console. And as I mentioned, this is all part of a comprehensive data protection strategy. Again, we'd really encourage you to have a conversation with us and understand exactly where your data sits, because we have a range of solutions that can help address the data protection challenges you may be facing, and ultimately providing you with options to get your data back. One of the a couple of the most popular ones that we do are related to obviously protecting on-premises VMware or Hyper-V based data using Veeam backup and replication. We can seamlessly get that offsite. And disaster recovery as a service with Veeam, where we can again use that same feature set, that same software, to get a replica of your virtual machines in our cloud, and ultimately provide a way to get those back up and running in our environment should something impact your local location. So again, We provide all of those solutions and we marry those together with the interface experience that we offer through our cloud console here. I've been speaking a lot about how great our service is. I know from this presentation, we did want to include a case study here, obviously straight from one of our customers who leverages these services on a daily basis, an organization called Benchmade based in the United States. And they leverage, again, as you can see, a range of island solutions, backup as a service, backup for 365 and disaster recovery as a service to provide that kind of holistic data protection strategy. And they actually had to leverage this after implementing it. So not only getting something in place, but they actually were able to successfully get data back after an accidental folder deletion. Again, one of the most common types of data loss incidents, and get that employee back in business and ready for the organization in 30 minutes. And it's great to see those types of stories from our side. That's why we do what we do from our perspective. So hopefully this has been an interesting brief discussion on Microsoft 365 backup and what we can help with there. We'd encourage you to have further conversations with us, to do demonstrations and show exactly how we can address your specific needs. And the way that we can do that is, if I scroll through to the next slide, we've actually got a dedicated landing page on the Computer World site. So again, this event is fantastic, some great talks and conversations going on. If you want to find out more, you can visit this URL on screen and get white papers, technical documentation, but also you can gain access to free trials. So it's not just taking our word for it or the case studies that we have. You can get hands-on with the technology, integrate it with your environment, and actually see how it can help your organization, and we can help you along the way. So we'd really encourage you to find out more, arrange a conversation with your Computer World account team and the Island team to see if we can address your challenges. But with that, I'd love to see if there's been any questions and see what we've got from the audience and answer those as well. So thank you very much.